Welcome back. Welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. And once again, I'm here with somebody that will add a whole lot more context. A younger brother that's doing a lot in business and also in community. Evan, how are you doing, my brother?
Doing well, brother. Happy to be here, man. I'm a fan of the show, definitely, man. I love what you're doing with it. You know what I'm saying? The people that you gave platforms to, man. So I'm in good company being here. You know what I'm saying? Real.
Respect,
Yes,
man. Yeah, and we were talking about some episodes before. Like, it's some people that actually check this out, other than you that's watching right now, man. It's good to see the growth of what Detroit is Different has become
100%.
over time. And for a while, like I often say, like getting you in here and definitely getting your story connected, as you thought it was going to be connected to something else. I just want your story. So,
yes, sir.
You know the rodeo,
Yeah.
your people and your roots, man.
I appreciate that.
What brings y'all to the D?
Yeah, man. So, man, my grandparents moved here originally. I believe on my dad's side, my grandfather, his father was from South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Yep, and he moved here with his brothers. You know what I'm saying? I think they was like orphans for real. Like, you know, he didn't really know his father, so him and all his brothers moved here. And then my dad's mom, I'm not sure honestly where they came from, but I know they have family in California though, because my dad, you know, he born here majority of, you know what I mean, his life, but he kind of like in his childhood grew up back and forth actually between California, where his side of the family is, and here, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I got like all my, you know what I'm saying, on my dad's side, like my aunties, uncles, you know, like a lot of my cousins, they all live in San Bernardino actually.
Wow.
Yep.
I was gonna ask what part of Cali.
Yeah. So that's like an hour and a half east of LA. You know what I'm saying? By the desert, like the desert.
Yeah, it's it definitely heats up in that way, and that's like that is definitely part of that culture. So first, let's talk a little bit of the Myrtle Beach thing. And South Carolinians getting to Detroit is so rare.
Yeah.
What do you think was it that brought them to Detroit from South Carolina?
Man, I think like a lot of people looking for opportunity. You know what I'm saying? He was my grandpa was like he drove truck, you know, for a while. Then he was a manufacturer. I think that like whole wheat, like the bread company or something.
Hostess over here?
I believe so. Yeah. So he worked there for a long time. You know what I'm saying? But I think just looking for opportunity, like, you know, back it had to be about, you know, like the 50s or something, 40s, 50s when they first moved. You know what I'm saying? Just looking for opportunity, you know, and end up building a life here. You know, he met my grandma, and they had three children. And then on my mom's side though, so my grandma and my grandpa, both my mom's parents, they're actually from Inkster. But I'm not sure
when they came from.
Yeah, where they
from and where they came.
I'm pretty sure. And my grandma, she ain't really know her biological father that well, but I think my great grandma came from Arkansas originally.
Okay.
You know? So they was both actually like, you know, kind of by the West Coast, you know what I'm saying? Both.
Yeah, I was gonna say those are
sides,
states. Those are states that definitely a lot of people not from the D here. But when we think West Coast, Cali, and what that was like, did you travel to San Bernardino as a kid?
Definitely, yup. So, you know, I would go out there, you know what I'm saying, to see my grandmother and, you know, my uncle. So yeah, I would and then we go to LA too. You know what I mean?
Obviously, because it's so close.
You there, so yeah.
And I'm guessing you fly into LA.
Probably, yeah. I think one time we flew to the Palm Springs airport, which is really nice. But you know, it's more expensive. So most times, you know, we find the LAX, we'll rent a car. But yeah, we spend time out there, man. I've been going out there a lot recently with the past couple years because, you know, unfortunately, my grandma, you know, my dad's mom, she passed away.
Condolences.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that was May of this year. And then her daughter, you know, my oldest auntie, she passed away the year before, you know what I'm saying? So my uncle actually that's still out there, he's talking about moving back, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, just because, you know, be closer to family.
Closer to fam. And that back and forth was just something that your grandfather was doing a
My
lot.
grandfather, yeah, he loved to travel. You know what I'm saying? He was type, he'd pull up. You know what I'm saying? I guess probably just because he was a driver. You know what I mean? So he would type pull up on everybody, check in on everybody. I remember riding in the car with them. You know what I'm saying? And we was just kicking. It's so funny because like I hear stories about my grandpa from my dad.
Yeah.
And he talk about, man, I was so scared of your grandpa. He was this. But then I know him as just, the sweetest guy ever. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's usually how it is.
That classic role as a grandparent is different than role as a parent. It's like you're pouring into your kid differently than grandkid. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah.
So your parents.
So my parents, yeah, they so my grandpa and grandma on my mom's side, they moved here. You know what I'm saying? They moved like 8 Mile and Schaefer, you know what I'm saying, on the west side. And then my dad, they lived on Brighton Street on the west side, like off a log cabin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Over there, right on the borderline, like Highland Park, though.
Yeah, like that's not that far from like right in this footprint.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, not too far from U of D. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they grew up here. I think my parents, they actually met at Northland.
Wow, ain't that is Detroit as ever.
My mom, my mom was working there, and I think they had a mutual friend or something. So my dad, I guess he spilled a little game to or whatever. It
was like even to this day, you remember like just going in via Roma of Max's and Max Greens because it'd be like some fly woman, you'd be like, trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Buy some Jabot jeans just because you're trying to pick up a number.
just want to see the bag, just want to show you walking around with the bag.
Yeah.
You don't want them to think you ain't got nothing. You gotta walk with at least a couple bags. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the good old Northland days. Yeah. That may have been a little before your era. You may have got like this much Northland.
Yeah. I remember when they closed it down. You know what I'm saying? So they met there. My parents they actually split when I was much younger. You know what I'm saying? But they now they good friends and stuff. Both my parents
well, that's cool that they still got along. And then I guess so. What side of town in their stories did they stay? You said did they stay mostly in those hoods and like go to school there and all of that stuff for most of the time?
Yeah. So my dad, like I said, I think like elementary he was in San Bernardino, and then but he ended up going to Mumford though. So he pretty much, and I think right after college, right after high school, he ended up going back out there for a minute. You know what I'm saying? So
back and forth.
Yeah, he's back and forth. But and then my mom, she was on the west side her whole life pretty much. She went to Renaissance and Michigan State. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so that west side. Yeah, it's like porn west side.
I ain't Yeah, I mean, my auntie's from the east side, you know what I'm saying? I love now, like I think getting older, like, meeting a lot of people, like definitely connecting. But yeah, definitely like on my side, you
was always
I was mainly there. Yeah.
Okay, and in that journey, coming up, you with school, where did you start school, and what neighborhood do you remember most?
When my parents got married, and pretty much like. Mainly for me, Rosedale neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, on the west side. If you remember when we had that meeting that Coney Island we went to, like right on, Finkel, like where
that's Omega, right?
Yeah, that Omega, yep.
Right there. So for people that don't know, Coney Island it's just like a diner restaurant, but it's more known in Detroit. Hence, I think J-Mo, the wide receiver for the Lions, like after winning the Lions' first game, he was at Coney Island, and Babyface Ray and them was like, "That's what we do here." Yeah. But it's a part of Detroit culture. But it's a regular diner, open for 24 hours.
Yeah, just like what you would normally think of. You know what I'm saying?
Of many places, but I just try to contextualize for the people that's not from here to get it. And Omega is one that is really at one of the weirdest intersections that traffic engineering ever created. So it's like an exit of it's an exit of the Southfield Freeway where it's Grand River, Finkel, all intersecting.
All three of those,
and a freeway coming together. It's
it's very strange for real. If I would have
Yes.
been with the city at that time, I definitely would have been trying to put some other plans together.
Yeah, but
I
it's the
remember,
Coney Island that's right there
yeah,
that we had a meeting
been
at.
there a long time. I remember they used to have that Obama picture there for the longest too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
I think that was 2008. He was around there. But yeah, so Penrod Street,
Okay.
which is like couple blocks away from there, man. And it was cool. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I lived a lot of places though, honestly, man. Like I said, my parents being split, like I lived in the suburbs for a minute. I lived like other parts of the West Side, you know what I'm saying? New Center, that's where I'm at. Well, I've been like District 5 now for about 10 years now, you know what I'm saying?
So what would you consider when it comes to like that neighborhood as a kid? You just kind of have friends throughout,
Oh,
and
man.
what was it like for you just making friends in different neighborhoods?
It was
being a
cool,
kid?
man. Like I remember, I was in like I guess it was like the Rosedale League or something, but I played Little League baseball. You know what I'm saying? So that was cool. Like meeting a lot of my friends. Then I wasn't the best at baseball, you know what I'm saying? But I was the fastest runner though.
Okay.
But at the end,
So they would swap you out on base then.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then I was left-handed too, so I played center field. I had a little arm. I wanted to pitch, but they let me pitch a couple games. But we had some good players though, man. Cliff from Hot Sam's actually played with his son. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was cool. Like then at the end of every season, you know what I'm saying, we would go to the Tigers games. This like 2004 or 5, like just back when the Tigers was doing their thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And we had block club parties. That we did. We had like blocked the street off. We had the bounce houses and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I just remember like trick or treating. Riding bikes. They had that community center like in the middle of it. So we'll go there, play at the park. Man, it was cool. You know what I mean? It was real cool for sure.
So for people that are watching, like Rosedale Park is one of those neighborhoods that's definitely been uplifted here before from stories with Charlie Beckham to other interviews where we've explored it. But I would say it's definitely a historic neighborhood in Detroit. Like a Sherwood Forest, and no offense to anybody in Sherwood Forest, but it feels like more families and young people are kind of in that area. And Jay Williams, who I just interviewed, that owns Miss Eva's, is also a kid from Rosedale Park.
I was watching that, man. That's cool, and shout out to him, man. Cause I met him at a Motor City match event. And maybe we get into this, but my mom, she started her own business. She got a body scrub line. So we was one of those Motor City, thankfully one of those Motor City match recipients as well, man. So actually, the building that he's doing on Grand River, cause it's on Grand River, right?
Yeah.
It's across the street from the building that we trying to renovate. Ideally, man.
And that's another thing about Rosedale Park. As much as it's family based, over the past, I would say maybe 10, 15 years, the Community Development Corporation over there, Rosedale Park.
Oh yeah, Grandma Rosedale. Yeah. They do some good stuff. They reached out to us.
Yeah, and it's helping a lot of businesses within like getting started, getting going. You think about also like an anchor like Charity Dean being over there in the mix with the business.
Shout out to Charity.
It's pouring in like a mix of community and neighborhood, and definitely keeping things walkable in a community. So that pours back into so much. But
it's cool, man. I got high hopes for that too, man. I honestly think the city, they trying to really do something over there on Grand River, because it could really, be another one of those like kind of walkable districts, kind of like how they did the Avenue of Fashion.
Yeah,
I think that's where I see them.
That's the direction that I definitely think
I
the city
think that's what they're trying to do.
And what is being poured into. So having some access there, but it's always been a district that people have been connected to. Like I remember like the donut shop, Pizza Hut, like a lot of just different things. Like when I talk to Jay Williams, the Blockbuster, like it's certain things that just stand out about that community. And then like we know Redford, that's not there anymore, but Redford kind of a stretch away, but still being a different type of grounding in community. Where did you go for school?
So my so when my dad got remarried, my brother, they used to live on 6 Mile and Schaefer. But then, you know, my dad married, so they ended up moving with us in Rosedale. They bought a house together in Lathrop Village, so I ended up going to high school over there.
What
I was watching with
Did you go to Lathrop or did you go to Southfield?
With Merciless Amir, I was watching that interview. I actually went to the same high school he did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
You know, I was in the band, so you know what I mean. I remember we used to be at Cash, you know what I'm saying, because they had a great band, King. Osborne, you know what I'm saying? Definitely, man. So that was a cool time, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so what did you play in band?
I actually I played the trombone, but then I played the sousaphone.
Okay,
which is crazy. If you know the
how did you get into that?
I don't even know, man. It's like, well, they was kind of like, you know, we want you to play. We need this. You know what I'm saying? They told me like it was gonna be an easy transition, but you see me like, and then I was even smaller than I ain't I ain't like the biggest guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like lugging this big thing around, man. It was an adjustment for sure, bro.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say on a when you doing the marching band sets too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You was getting your drum line on.
So I got strong that first year, man. Yeah, I definitely got strong that first year, bro. But yeah, it was cool, man. It was and then me, I rap too, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely like
helped in
like my music, yeah. Just musicality and all that. Which I still think, man, something that, we need to be investing more in, especially with the youth.
So in that, like being in band and an active band, and you said like Cass and King, those were like anchor bands and everything. So it would be competitive in there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
then like we used to always go to their drumline competitions. Cass used to have the drumline competitions, and they both had great bands, man. They used to go to Ohio too. It was a Shaw competition. That was like one of the biggest ones because Shaw had one of the biggest bands, like out of the whole, I guess you would say like Midwest. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was definitely competitive, man. And then we would they were like, but we was all cool because like they would come, practice with us over the summertime, band camp or things like that. People would join us or kind of come in and out. So
what do you think? Because parents are always thinking what and kids and what they can get involved in and what connects.
Yeah.
What did playing an instrument at that age through high school, what did that give you? What do you think that has helped you in certain ways?
I think it's helped me a lot, man. And my dad, my stepmom, she sang in the choir, and my mom, she always wanted to be a Broadway star, actually.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I think it just gave me like definitely discipline, but then also gave you a sense of success. You know what I mean? Because you learning how to play this instrument, you don't really know anything about it, but then you get to go to a competition and, they score you and you win, And then I think if you love music and just listening to that kind of music too, like I think it actually helps. Like I think parents, and I'm not a parent yet, I want to be, but I think they should play like jazz music or even like some hip hop, but really like, jazz music and things like that. It really stimulates the brain too, I think, and gets you like in that kind of right type of mindset, and it definitely builds discipline, and then it gives you a chance to succeed at something and you can see the progress, so it kind of builds that idea in you that, okay, if I work hard, I can see results from it and I could, get accolades or, just attention, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, just give you a sense of success and definitely discipline, to succeed, to do it well.
Okay. All right. And with that, after high school, but even before we get there, you mentioned hip hop, rapping yourself. What was who were like some of your favorite rappers that led to you rapping? What was it that's like, okay, I want to do this? What changed you from listening to writing and performing?
Man, I would say I definitely Kanye West, he was one of my favorite rappers. Like I would say like early on, Kanye for sure. Big Sean, definitely especially like, when he dropped the Finally Famous mixtapes. And then I feel like, not like I knew them guys well or anything, but I would see like early Mac, and this was like, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, 2031, 2032, 2033, 2034, 2035, 2036, 2037, 2038, 2039, 2040, 2041, 2042, 2043, 2044, 2045, 2046, 2047, 2048, 2049, 2050, 2051, 2052, 2053, 2054, 2055, 2056, 2057, 2058, 2059, 2060, 2061, 2062, 2063, 2064, 2065, 2066, 2067, 2068, 2069, 2070, 2071, 2072, 2073, 2074, 2075, 2076, 2077, 2078, 2079, 2080, 2081, 2082, 2083, 2084, 2085, 2086, 2087, 2088, 2089, 2090, 2091, 2092, 2093, 2094, 2095, 2096, 2097, 2098, 2099, 2000, 20 You might not remember Big Shan.
Mhm.
You know, Big Shan used to be down with Finally Famous. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And just certain like Boldy James. You know what I mean? Like
So
certain guys we'll see.
let me frame some of that. So Big Sean and Big Shan, and a lot of people may not make those connections, but
Yeah.
as Big Sean's, like this is so this is more in the Big Sean story, okay? and kind of some of the connection here too. So early on, Big Sean was always, I think, very not just talented, but very focused on hip hop. And I'm speaking this from like personal story in hip hop and connecting to Big Sean, because Big Sean was a Cass Tech student, and he graduated with my cousin Devin Laster, a visual artist, who was one of his best friends is Early Mac. So Early Mac and Big Sean were like some of the people that would kind of be around through my cousin Devin of like, yo, we want to get access to a studio. But Sean was very focused. And even what's so funny, as time went on, Mike Posner, somebody else that was kind of in that crew. So as Sean started heating up and like the shows that Michigan State started presenting and things like that, Big Shan was another rapper in that same crew. And that same crew just stayed focused. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a group of young people as focused. It was like a whole energy around the team. And Early Mac been supposed to get in here for a while, and Lord knows, I mean, because I didn't make the connection at the time, but that's where some of the 6 degrees of separation exists as things were more active and me recording with a lot of different rappers. And I haven't even told a lot of my hip hop stories, but I'm going to start opening up with more of them.
You should, bro, for sure.
And
definitely
Shan was its own mix, and Sean and
present.
The movement was building.
I used to listen to all them guys too, like Dusty McFly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously Doughboys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Payroll, Doughboy Rock, rest in peace, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember I seen Big Sean at the Fillmore one time.
Mm-hmm.
And this had to be like 2010 probably. You know, I think he had like just dropped Finally Famous 3.
Yeah.
And Big Sean opened up for him, you know what I'm saying? But he came out in all white, he was rocking, you know, that was probably one of the, definitely at that age, one of my favorite concerts, you know what I'm saying? So definitely I think Detroit has like a kind of like, especially now, but even back then you had a lot of people rapping.
I think it was definitely a growing, the talent is abundant here.
Oh, for sure.
Across the board. So you kind of, in that era, was like, okay, I want to pick up the pen.
Yeah, straight up, man.
Okay.
And, but yeah, so college, I went to Wayne State. But I went to Bowling Green, Ohio, my first year.
Okay. Why did you choose Bowling Green?
Man, I think they offered me some scholarship money.
Okay.
And I heard like a couple people going there, and then being
academic or band?
Academic.
Okay.
Actually,
academic.
it was academic for the most. But I honestly, like, my grades wasn't the best. You know what I'm saying? But I think
was
like
college and not.
I wrote like a good essay or something. You know, I always like to write. So I'm like, maybe Okay.
But,
so I ended up going there a year, man. But I definitely I missed home. But my mom, she ended up losing her job, and that's actually why she started the business. My mom was an attorney for the state of Michigan. You know, she used to work at the Cadillac place.
Yeah.
I think she worked in the Attorney General's office.
So let me give more context to a couple different things you dropping. You dropping some stuff. So Bowling Green's in Ohio, and it's not that far from. I would say Bowling Green is like maybe
close
like
to Toledo, about half hour, 20 minutes from Toledo.
It's not that far, but
about an hour and a half away from here.
Yeah. So like a halfway, like between Detroit and Dayton, you got Bowling Green.
Yeah.
And it's one of those schools that for sure, like when you talk about a PWI.
Oh man. So
I was gonna ask that, what was the cultural experience?
Yeah.
So PWI meaning predominantly white institution. How did you make the adjustment, and what was that like? Because Detroit is such a black city.
Exactly.
And Bowling Green, not just a PWI, it's in like the middle of.
Oh man, let me tell you. So, so when I got to Bowling Green, I had met people that had never met black people. I act like they had never seen, and I thought that was like a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like people say, "Oh, I never met a black person," but like you know, you hear like people on TV. You know what I'm saying? Or like they say that TV is the only impression they get of black people. Like
Yeah.
that's real. So they you know they wasn't like necessarily racist, but they was you know I talked to them and stuff, but they definitely had like some prejudices
And
just
what
because they had never even been around black people. You know what I'm saying?
and what era is this? Because just fresh from my mind of my interview with Shelby, Shelby Love, shout out to Shelby, and she was talking about just like the tension that was on campus around the Trump election,
For sure.
and what I'm guessing this may have been Obama years.
This was Obama year. So this was 2012. This is actually the year that Obama was running against Romney. It was wild, man, because like, you know, and my family is like a political family, you know what I'm saying? Always has. Like you know, that's probably why I went into politics. Like my family type at every Christmas, Thanksgiving, they screaming at the TV, you know what I'm saying? Like they know all the candidates, they know about their scandals, you know, just going in about it, you know,
and this is mom and dad.
Really, yeah, my dad
And
my dad,
both sides of the family too.
My dad family like wasn't, you know what I'm saying, like they weren't as present here, like most of them was in California, but even like my dad's people and my dad too, you know, he'd like watch MSNBC all the time, you know, my mom, but yeah, definitely on my mom's side, man, was definitely like, you know, very politically involved. But I'm just saying that to say like,
so now you at this school and that's happening during this time. And Lord knows, man. I assume, I assume down in Bowling Green.
We actually like, but I would say, like the political climate, it definitely wasn't as
it wasn't as thick
as
like now.
As it's not. Like now, it's like
it's tense.
Like I can't imagine like how
what
tense
it would
is
be
now.
Like there, yeah.
But it definitely was tension. You know what I'm saying? But I was more so like kind of taken aback because I'm like, I've been around Democrat. You know what I mean? The city is like, you know, we don't have no Republican politicians for real. Like, so I'm thinking Obama's like it, like, especially college, because I'm hearing like, you know, Obama the one that's going, you know, fund college, make it more affordable. The Republicans don't want to invest in education. I'm like, why are all these white people around talking about they going to vote for Mitt Romney? Like, we college students, you know. So that was definitely different, man. I remember it was like it was a scandal. And then I'll say like Bowling Green, it was kind of like different because, you know, I'm thinking like, I'm gonna go to college and like get a taste of the world, like see a lot of different stuff. I felt like I only seen Bowling Green, and like you said, if you know Bowling Green, where it is, it's really like almost like a country town.
Most people, it's
you know what I mean? It's like a farm town,
agricultural, definitely destination.
A lot of people
like that.
A lot of people don't see like Ohio that way, but it's, you know, even like parts of Michigan. If you go up north farther, you know what I mean, you see people that live like that.
As a former truck driver, it's like I often say, it's you got Detroit.
I'm sure you know. Yeah.
Then you got Michigan. But shout out to all my people in Flint,
for sure.
Yanktown and stuff like that. But still, it's like Michigan is like people be like, wow, it's a lot of Make America Great Again banners around here. It's like you got Michigan.
Yeah.
And Detroit, it's like the further you
north,
get away.
Yeah, north is deep. That's why probably why Trump been up there so much, man. But North Michigan is deep. But yeah,
but also let me get this. Of the racial tension, it's actually, in my experiences in truck driving and everything else, like throughout the whole mitten of Michigan, I would feel more racial tension the closer you get the outskirts. I would say like
I agree.
basically southeast Michigan, like this whole Detroit and maybe about a radius of about 20 to 25 miles.
I agree.
It's thick. You know, and obviously that Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, but it's a different type of thick. But
I'm not gonna say none of the cities, but we know what cities they are where you know what I'm saying? And you gotta tell that it ain't, you know, it's not love.
Let's put it like this. The cities where the population is not a lot of black residents, but if you go to court any day of the week, you see nothing but black people in there. And it's a lot of cities like that in Michigan.
Yeah, straight up.
You know what I'm saying? Around Detroit, it's a lot of cities. You know what I'm saying? That like, boy, you go to one of their courts, you be like,
oh man,
I didn't even know black people lived here.
You'll see them all, yeah.
But they definitely are getting violations there.
Feel me? Yeah, that remind me of my friend Donovan McKinney. You know, state rep.
Yeah,
you know, he's telling me about all the stuff he went through. You know.
Yeah. Shout out Donovan.
All the parts that like his district is in. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. People don't think about that in 2024. But yeah, man. So It was a time, so at Bowling Green, you know, we all the black students, you know what I'm saying, because we all, you know, had like a community, you know what I mean, a lot of us from Detroit too, so we planned to go downtown. You know, we wanted to have like I think it was like a sorority or fraternity event, some you know, with those events. And we rented out this spot, and all we see is like people getting on Twitter, like all the people that go to Bowling Green, like, what's all these black people? It's a blackout downtown. Like, what do they think? You know what I mean? Just all kind of racist stuff, like some stuff I can't say. And then it was like, man, like we really felt, you know,
then being kids processing that.
Yeah. So we ended up having like
young adults, I should say, processing that.
Young adults,
and especially somebody like you, anybody from the D is like really can't process that. Y'all thinking like, it's higher learning. You know what I'm saying?
Even like the white people you meet here, you know what I'm saying? But they the type that's been around black people. You feel me? So it was just
a different move. Yeah.
We ended up having like it was called Not in Our Town. So we ended up having like this town hall where like a lot of the teachers and like, you know, we had like a whole conference and stuff, you know.
That sounds like try this in a small town. A whole
it was white students, but you could tell like the white students weren't really, you know, trying to hear it. But I appreciate that that they at least tried to do that for us, man. But yeah, but I was only there for a year, you know what I'm saying?
And then you come back.
Yeah, I come back, you know.
In Wayne State, Wayne State's culture, which we have a lot of talks about Wayne State.
Man.
What was it like transitioning to Wayne State? Did you think to yourself, I want to go to Wayne State, or was it one of those things like, I'm here, so let me keep going to school?
Well, so I went to WC3.
Shout out to Dr. Ivory and WC3.
Oh yeah, shout out to them. They doing their thing for sure, man. I, had a great experience there.
What campus were you taking most of your classes at?
I was at Curtis Ivory downtown.
Oh, you was at downtown? Because I was gonna say the West.
I was gonna say
the West one is
like drive. Yeah, I took a couple classes there too, but mainly that one. I think I took like 1 or 2 classes
before the renovation of both.
Before the renovation, I'm looking at it now. Like they got the lights and everything. It did not look. It didn't look like anything. You know what I'm saying? When I was there, it kind of just had that little underground parking lot. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know what it is. If you don't know
what's going on.
But shout out. I'm glad they did that though.
I'm Henry Ford Community College.
Okay.
And I like my community college experience. What was it like for you? And then I was older in it. So you being younger taking classes, what was it like being in community college? Because I know some people think, but community college, I liked it. What was it like for you?
Man, I almost like it was almost like kind of easier for me to Wayne State because I feel like the kids there were very motivated, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then I think with it being smaller, it was like easier to, talk to your professors and kind of like, resources and stuff, man. But everybody was kind to me, man. Like, like I said, I got along with the students there and stuff. So, I was there about a year, then ended up graduating from Wayne State. But I had a great experience, honestly.
So you kind of matched up, got more credits, and then transitioned over to Wayne State and kind of kept it rolling. Yep. Okay. And like you say, so Wayne definitely State, that experience that I just got more questions about WC3 because you're the first guest that I've had that's talked about the WC3 experience.
Oh, wow, okay.
What were the professors like? I know you said the connections. What stands out from those histories? If you can remember
cool,
names,
man. Like I had Bell. I think his name was Ronald Bell. That was my economics person. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, my advisor at WC3 was super cool. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He was kicking it with me. Then honestly, man, I told him like how I've been struggling, because it was sort of tough, man. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Like when I came back, the city was declaring bankruptcy. I know it's like some, that was 2013, about whether, how much money the city had or whatever, but that's, what was going on. Then with my mom, like, my mom actually ended up moving to Boston because she got a job there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely a transition. Then, I moved to, like the New Center area, you know what I'm saying?
So your mom moves to Boston. Mm-hmm. In this same time frame.
Yeah, because when she lost her job, you know what I mean? So it was...
You're going to find work.
So I'm thinking like... And I think a lot of kids at WC3 and Wayne State probably had this mentality, but I know like at Wayne State, it's it was very different because school is almost like secondary, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I went from a spot where, because if you go to like Michigan State or whatever, or like, Western... School is like your life revolves around that, you know what I mean? On campus, you got friends, you know what I'm saying? But at Wayne State and WC3, like you work. Most people they still, in the city they grew up in for real, like at home. So you working, they may got kids, you know what I'm saying? You trying to get money, and school is kind of like let me do school on top of everything else I got going on. So that was definitely an adjustment, man.
So I definitely want to give like some of my Henry Ford experience.
For sure.
Like community college is so interesting because if you have like daytime classes, you may be in there with high school students
Yeah, you might
getting
be,
credits, and then if you got nighttime classes, chances are you with people that's like
maybe 40s,
even
you know what I'm saying?
and I was older. I was like maybe 27, 28.
Okay.
And I'm still with people that's like 50, like grown.
Yeah.
I got my family. I just need these couple credits so I can
Yeah.
get this certification and I can get a raise. So
Yeah.
it'd be like such a whole footprint of life that I was getting in community college
Straight up, man.
versus
It was different.
when I was like, I think the college experience, because even when I transferred over to Walsh, almost everybody was like a manager
Yeah.
that was leading a company, like just the same type of people. Whereas in community college, it was all over the place.
All over the place, man.
You know, some people in there just want some student loan money, so they be in class for like 3 weeks and then you
honestly,
never see
man,
them again.
when I think about like WC3 for sure, man. Like, I remember we had some people around my age, you know what I'm saying, like in their 20s. We had like Arabic students there. You know what I
The
mean?
international.
We had older people, you know what I'm saying? But then my professors, like one of my professors at WC3, he had formerly taught at Wayne State. I don't know, man, he had been teaching both at the time, but he had been at both. But yeah, that was cool. And like, I remember they had the lab and stuff. So I think I took like a geometry, some like, class I had to take for like general,
Yeah.
We dissected the pig and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it was cool, man. I had a great experience, honestly, man. I think it got me like on the right track to like, okay, if I'm really gonna pursue this, then let me like, make sure I'm serious about it. You know what I'm saying? And make sure I do what I got to do to, ultimately graduate.
And also giving more of a context. So Wayne County Community College District is obviously the community college inside Wayne County. Detroit is inside of Wayne County.
Right.
And it's multiple campuses too. So you have the downtown campus. You also have the Northwest campus, which is in Detroit. You got an East campus in Detroit, but you got a downriver campus. It's a big footprint. And the work of it is being led by Dr. Curtis Ivory, one of the key pillars in Black leadership that has been here for so long through a lot of what people would say some of the tougher times in Detroit, which we could argue about that another day and time. But Dr. Ivory stood as like one of the key figures providing opportunity to so many different people throughout the diaspora, throughout the community, and align with community for so long that I just tip my hat just from afar in the work that has been done.
I love what he did too, man. Like, like I'm happy that, it looks so much better now on especially on what's that, 4th Street?
The downtown campus.
But even the Northwest one, man. They
still not enough parking at the
beautiful
downtown campus.
It's not, man, but they got the little, down. I think they be giving the teachers the hookup. You know what I'm saying? Which how they usually do. That's how I usually go. The staff or whoever, same city. They get to park where they all the perks and stuff, and then everybody else.
But then again, parking is an issue anywhere downtown Detroit. So
I got my car towed, man, about 3 times, man. Especially going, you probably know everybody you talk to at Wayne State. Parking tickets, man. They got me so many times. Then they want you to pay like $300-$400 a semester.
Yeah.
It's probably even more now.
So Wayne State, what did you take up at Wayne?
I ended up majoring in public affairs. So I got my bachelor's in public affairs, man.
What was what led you in that direction?
So a couple things, man. Like I said, like political family, you know what I'm saying? Both my parents was big on that. So with my mom, we was always like going to the MLK marches, we was volunteering. We had the talking points, you know what I'm saying? So we had the candidates to endorse and all that. But then honestly, I think like because my dad was a teacher, and he went through things, you know what I'm saying, like job insecurity, you feel me? And then with my mom too, it's like I think seeing that as like a something that maybe I could like make a difference in, you know what I'm saying?
Now with that, and you actually one of those things, a talking point I often give in your generation especially is like when people above me, Generation X and beyond, talk about, because I'm an older millennial. If you look, I was born in '82, so I'm in the mix. But I think I'm more understanding of all, especially because I'm talking to all these people. But I often say that recession that was closer to a real depression when we think about the transition of so many jobs lost and people's homes lost. I think it did something to your generation where you all look at ownership differently. Hence, you get the booming of what's considered shared businesses and shared economy. Hence, like Uber and Airbnb, like things that would have seemed like it would never work before things like that, because your generation sometimes looks at like, okay, if I have this job, what relationship does that job have to me? What relationship does this mortgage have to me? Just the things that it's like that were looked at as this is what you do as an adult kind of have transitioned so much, which culturally 100%. It impacts things right now where people say that because you all watch that. So what was it like? And you kind of are getting there.
That's a great
what was
point,
it like to witness things that, because being an older millennial,
I didn't really think about it like that, but you contextualizing it like that, you know what I'm saying? That's very accurate. You know what I mean? I definitely think for me it was like, so I didn't want to put myself in a position, like I was always worried that I would get a, you know what I mean, like about my job security. You know what I'm saying? I seen both my parents lose their jobs. You know what I mean? So I think I think like with politics, so I'm like, okay, well let me like at least try to understand the decisions like to go into this. You know what I'm saying? Even the conservative mindset, right? I just studied that also because my dad always told me to read things that you disagree with. You know what I'm saying? So let me try to like understand this and put this in context, and then maybe I could put myself in a position to at least know more about it, maybe even have some authority in it, but then also a business too. You know what I'm saying? So I was always thinking about like other streams of income. You know what I'm saying?
And that right there has such rippling effects on so much of what politicians say, because I think it impacts one, and I'm like you, I don't have any children either, but like the fear of like looking at the fear of debt has impacted so much of how our generation moves, because we look at children like, well, that may be $500,000. We look at home like, okay, that's going to be a 30-year mortgage. We look at a job like, I don't even necessarily know if they're going to be down for me. So hence, even as I'm hired, I'm still looking on ZipRecruiter.
Oh yeah,
and I'm gonna be looking on, and if I get that right email or direct message on LinkedIn, I'm open to looking. So this is a thought process that has begun to permeate, where now it's just part of the culture.
How it changes you too. But I think, and I understand like the pitfalls and that. Like some people they'll say like, oh, the millennials, they don't want to work, they're not focused or they're not committed. But also it's like, well, that's could segue to a conversation about how can these businesses make us feel more secure in our role?
Classic example, like during during the pandemic, and everybody was like, we're giving so much money and free unemployment, nobody wants to work for Burger King. And it's like, I don't know necessarily if they wanted to work for Burger King beforehand.
Feel me?
But now with an empowered employee as an employer, and I'm a business person, you have to really negotiate. You just can't step in with that, like, especially like when we go back to maybe not even Generation X as much, but those baby boomers. It's like if the boss say do it, you do it. Like that whole
That's how that was taught, right?
That was the ethic and the culture of that era. Whereas now, I mean, literally, you'll hire somebody today, and they will quit 4 hours into their shift and be like, you know what? I'm gonna just pick up some DoorDash money.
Yeah, right. Like, or the kids, they want to drive Uber or something. It's other opportunities out here, definitely to make money. But I hope it goes back to that. But definitely, man. So I was always thinking about I guess financial stability. You know what I mean, just in general.
And entrepreneurship you mentioned too. And that's another thing that I think is so much more
having something
abundant now than before.
Also, it's a lot of things you can monetize now. You know what I'm saying? Like my cousins, they got they got a YouTube channel, but then they on Instagram too and stuff. You know what I mean? So they do endorsements. They get paid to do things. Now I think they just came out with a book. So even things like that, you could just get ad money. You know what I mean? Somebody may give you, sponsor your video, and if you build up enough of a platform like that. It's just so many ways now. Like you said, you could basically be an independent contractor and stuff. So I definitely think though, like if the employers want to get back to having reliable employees, which I understand, but you gotta make it palatable for them. You know what I'm saying?
So with that, in that shift,
Mhm.
and you thinking about multiple revenue streams,
Yeah.
and also seeing that inspiration from your parents,
Mhm.
public affairs, you
Right.
still connecting to politics.
For sure. And I would say, shout out to my mom because my mom got me an internship. The summer after my freshman year, I came home, with Burt Johnson, who
Oh,
was
okay.
state. Yeah, I think
Was he state senator at
he
the
was at
time?
state center at the time. You know
Okay,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I know
So
Bert.
that was cool, man. I was basically just an intern. I think I got like a course credit or something like that. But that was cool because I got like the first taste kind of what a politician does, I guess. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But we used to do coffee hours. You know how the politicians had coffee hours, so we used to do it like I think the first Monday, and he had so he was on the east side too. And that's like when I started spending a little more time on the east side. Cause I say before then I hadn't really spent
Yeah,
much time. I used to work at the YMCA downtown, and I had some friends from the east side, but I didn't, ain't really
Yeah, you didn't know the
there.
neighborhoods like that, and
And
definitely a coffee hour
he
with a
was
politician, you gonna be in the
yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah, he was in Ravendale Community Center. That's where his office was at the time. Yep.
Yeah. Shout out Tony McElwain. She
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
coming on here soon.
yeah. Shout out to her, man. But yeah,
That's for
so
sure the East Side. If everybody know,
you
that's
feel me?
Harper. Yeah.
So yes, part of his district was in Harper Woods. Part of it was in Hamtramck. And part was in Grosse Pointe. Then the East Side, Detroit. So we would like follow up with constituents and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they would call about things. We would like do resolutions for them and stuff. Like people turning 90 years old or something. We'd get them a resolution, that type of thing. We would like go to events and stuff. That they would ask them to speak at. People come do interviews, that type of thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But really like just public service. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like then I started kind of getting more into that community space, and then it was an organization called Moses. What is it? Managing strengthening, managing organizations, sustaining energy through strength or something like that, or in strategic enhancing
I'm
strength.
familiar with the name. I
Yeah,
never knew the
I forget.
acronym.
It's something-
You know what I'm saying?
I probably just butchered it to be honest.
And let me
but-
say this: so many organizations have so many acronyms. It's
Man.
like, okay,
In the
yeah,
city too,
you're
man,
doing
they
something
got-
positive
yeah.
for Black people. Okay, there we
City
go.
got like all these departments and these
Yeah.
I can't keep track, man. But yeah, so with them that they was doing a lot of cool stuff. So I was involved with them like in college as well. And then like the Black Student Union at Wayne State, they was doing their thing. So that's when I just started spending like more and more time like in the field of public service, and I definitely I was interested in it. You know what I'm saying? And public affairs is like more of an economic focus because I always thought obviously like that's important. You know what I mean? People having enough financial stability. You know what I'm saying? To have the quality of life they want, because especially in Detroit, like one of the biggest things goes back to poverty. It's just like not having enough to even get the home repairs, or having to think about getting out of debt or groceries. You know what I'm saying? And transportation. You feel me? Because we talk about that for that's crazy.
So that leads me to this question then. If that's the play, so it's like a two-part, but let's start with the first part. Being that Detroit is such this is always the elephant in the room question for everybody. And I tackled it almost exhaustively with Tepfira Reshton, that is the lead of the Office of Sustainability for the city of Detroit. The city is built in size and capacity supposed to be for about 2 million people.
Straight up.
Let's just be ambitious and let's say this is 700,000 with the people that don't do it.
Right.
I think it's less than that, but let's just be ambitious.
If we're being ambitious.
And the size of it is such a big footprint.
Yeah.
What do you do in capacity what do you think is a solution when you have that where it's going to be scarcity, back to that economic concept, that naturally exists
That's the thing we got to talk about, because what I'm seeing is, um, like District 2 and District 3, you continuing to lose residents, but then you want to tout that you bringing all these people here, you know what I'm saying? But you building these like housing units, whatever, downtown, and I don't really think these are like, very sustainable if I'm being like, 100%. I'm looking at these, but you got a lot of people that's moving in supposedly, but then you still got people that's moving out. So you have to restore the neighborhoods. And what that means is like quality of life. So, you know, um, doing the repairs for one, you know what I'm saying? Like these had to be up to code, amenities, you know what I'm saying, in the neighborhood. You need access to just, grocery stores, things, stuff that everybody want in their neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta invest some of those resources there, and then you gotta help. I mean, I sort of like what Motor City Match is doing, but it has to be connected, you know what I'm saying? And then what I'm seeing too is that you got a lot of people that work downtown or that work in the city that don't live in the city, and you got a lot of people that live in the city that don't work in the city. So I would like to see more of a push and more, and it got to be accountability, right? Because I know I'm going in a lot of different ways, but I look at these community benefits agreements, and if we pass the whole community benefits agreement and people don't uphold the community benefits agreement, then what's the uh what's the leverage that you have? Because what I often hear is, oh, well, they were supposed to hire these people and train these people for these jobs, but we couldn't find enough people that was trained, so we couldn't meet the quota. Oh, we're not gonna finish on time either. Oh, it's this, and then it's like agreement after agreement is being nullified, but we're not seeing any compensation for that. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
you
that's what we come
just
back to.
you definitely gave a lot of arguments that I would echo. But right now, I'm gonna put on my attorney hat, and I'm
Please,
gonna
please
push
do.
some
Please
opposition
do.
just
Please
to
do.
pull
Yeah.
this out as you study public affairs.
Right.
So the first argument would be kind of an argument that would be if that the resources being given to business leadership will provide more opportunity, because business leadership has access to
Yeah.
other resources
Yeah.
that if their desires are met, then that's going to be the rising tide that raises all ships.
Exactly.
And that provides a lot more resources that can then get to the neighborhoods through things changing winds that exist. Similar to, like, here's going to be definitely one of those things touted, the Joe Louis Greenway. And a lot of its success deals with what started through DeQuinder Cut that has now expanded. And if it wasn't for what was existing with the business leadership being given access to the tax abatements that have been provided, then you would not have a DeQuinder Cut that can expand to the Joe Louis Greenway that enwraps the whole city.
I agree with that. But I would say get it in writing. You know what I'm saying? Or I would say more accountability, because we haven't seen it though. You know what I'm saying? So we've seen them get. I mean, we've seen it to an extent, but we've seen a lot of people get the benefits, get the tax breaks, not meet the agreements, and then it's like, when is the city coming in and say, okay, well, what is the job training program? Okay, well, how many businesses have benefited? How many boats have been lifted from this rising tide? You know what I'm saying? And that's what we got to come back to. But also, I'll say like, I think it has to be a real partnership. You know what I mean? Like, one thing I see that Hot Sam's is doing that I think the city put on is they got like one of the small vendors in their store now, like somebody selling fragrances. But basically, they're trying to, the long time businesses, they're trying to forge partnerships with, the startups. And I think stuff like that is cool, but it has to be people that actually have a stake in it. You know what I'm saying? And I think really, I don't know if you could do this on a policy level, but I say black, But if you could have a long-term black businesses partner with some of these people, then, that I think that ultimately would help. But then it just got to be more accountability on that. And then I would say what I like about Joe Louis Greenway is, as you said, it's encompassing the whole neighborhood. But I know one thing about that, because I talk with them a lot, and community engagement was a big thing for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was definitely very adamant about going to all the places, that it would encompass in the city, and having their input. And we don't really see that sometimes either. You know what I'm saying? Especially with these huge projects, especially when you talk about giving tax dollars to people. And then they say all kind of stuff, working for the city now. I hear it all the time. It's not really a tax because they're just keeping more of the taxes and we're not giving anybody any, all this stuff is like.
So now I'm going to flip that and give the opposition of the other side of that. And this is kind of even different from like Detroiters for Tax Justice. And shout out to Theo Pride. And,
shout out Theo for sure.
And Mama Amara, Russ Ballant, and a lot of the organizers there, Elena Harada. I want to say that my argument in business is it's just different if you're conducting business that to pour into your own profit. Like even when we look at, the NFL teams that the owners that chose to build their own stadium versus take city funding from it.
Right.
A person that built his own stadium is Jerry Jones that owns the Dallas Cowboys because it's about the branding and the money being poured in. If you think it's a good investment, you're going to put your own money up. And especially when we think about the scarcity of access and being the value of tax income in the city of Detroit. So these tax abatements, it's back to like, it's not like we're giving them money, but it is giving you money. So like if you owe me $100 coming up next year,
right?
And I choose to say I don't need it anymore. I'm still giving you money that would have come, and it could have been used and resourced differently when we think about so much that could be done, even if we're looking at an entrepreneurial level, when small businesses are the businesses that hire most Americans, period. And even the people within the city of Detroit, when you think about those Detroiters that live in the city of Detroit and the probability of them working for a lot of the institutions that have been given so much in tax revenues from the city of Detroit. And then you think of like things like the Downtown Development Authority that locks all of that money into downtown, which was definitely created in a time, go back in that Theo Pride interview I did, but go back in the time when basically as black leadership took a hold of the city of Detroit and cities like Atlanta and Gary, Indiana, and many other places, and Washington, D.C., funding continued to leave. So it's a tie between black leadership and lack of resources that traditionally have been given that exist in the history of America, period. So finding more creative and innovative ways and hence tying into those resources of social capital matters so much within our community because it's going to be us that push the button. And that's the Kari Frazier, Detroit is different, optimistic, or whatever way you may look at it, way of looking at how we can resource and change things.
It's two things I would say, man, like I forgot who said this, but she's like the Downtown Development Authority was created like 10, 15 years ago to revitalize downtown. But it's been revitalized, you know what I'm saying? I think we can agree, like, they've put a lot of money down there. They've done a lot, like, that should go.
And then, see, I would even push back at that, and this is more of a macro American thing. Like, so it's office buildings across America post-COVID that aren't open, like even in booming markets like Houston, Texas. So as I look at the more skyscrapers and you talk about like these apartment buildings going up and, we had this talk on public comment, me and Malachi, because I think just the whole concept of what is low-income housing is that becomes such a big discussion for America itself. And we look at what the cost of living and the raising inflation throughout America, it becomes tough. And then we often use, this is the good because I'm always talking about this on public comment. I can speak this into Detroit is different. We often use the median income rate, which I think is a skewed number to use. We should use the mean rate. So I take it back to trigonometry. Mean, median, mode. Mode is the number that you see most often in something. The median is the center of the highest point and the smallest point. The mean is the average. So if tomorrow 50 Cent buy a neighborhood, buy a house around the corner from me, guess what just happened in the median income? It's going to be a multi-millionaire because 50 Cent just moved around the corner. So a median income is just not the number to use. And these are the debates I will always have with my economists in Henry Ford Community College. Shout out.
And I say, a point that Sidney Calloway made, which I agree with. She said, "Why don't you give it to the people? Get a tax break to the people, then versus giving it to the business. Give it to the people. Let the people invest, and then that'll let you know that'll quote unquote let the market, decide
Yeah.
who's gonna be successful. Give it right to the people, and then we got this income tax. You know what I'm saying? It's 2.4% for Detroit residents, and then like 1.2 or like 2%, something like that, or 2% for corporations and like 1% for non-Detroit residents.
Which now that kind of drives right into the next point, which I think that that was an amendment when Dennis Archer made his way into office. From that used to be 1.3%, but that 0.3% was taken back when a collective was agreed upon where the state of Michigan, Governor John Engler at the time said, okay, we'll honor that for some enhancements to be made in Cobo Hall and we can share in other resources, but that was never honored. And this is also the key point in God bless her soul. My late godmother, Joanne Watson, was saying it was always an illegal takeover because or an illegal bankruptcy because the state of Michigan owed so much money to the city of Detroit because it never honored that deal in the first place, which was all over the non-resident taxes in the city of Detroit. And to me, that pocket of money is the key pocket of money that should be directly given back, and that 0.3% should go to reparations for the city of Detroit, which lies us right there.
That, you see where my mind, as soon as you said that, I'm like, because we
that's been my argument. I've been arguing that from the beginning.
But
that's the pocket of money for reparations because it's on the books. It definitely will break the state charter, but everything needs to do that. But it's something the state has not honored, and a pocket of money that at the time many mayors said they're just not going to pursue. But I believe that should be pursued for municipal reparations for it.
And we was talking about me and you, we talked about a lot about municipal harms, you know what I'm saying? And framing it that way, that ties into that. And then, because when people hear the reparations word, they might think slavery, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But if you focus on Detroit, it's like the overtaxation and what you telling me now about, these revenue sharing agreements not being honored and these extra taxes, like this is all stuff in recent things. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's harder to dig some of this stuff up because some information that
they bury it.
It's harder to find. Yeah, but if you want to find anything or any scandal about any, especially black politician in Detroit, you look that up. You can find probably volumes of information from Alonzo Bates.
Man, we go down the list. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
Exactly. But stuff like that, you're not going to find that. It's very tough. I mean,
I had to go down to Lansing. But no, man, like, and that ties into it though for sure. So these are like legitimate things. You know what I'm saying? This is real theft that's happened. And it hasn't been no recourse. I don't know if they think that we just go, take it or whatever, but
part of this is back to that social capital for me, saying like those connections. And hence, this is the question that I have for you. In your role, you work with the Reparations Task Force, but I didn't really want to explore that as much, but just politics itself, because I'm sure you ask this all the time. What's your idea and passion for politics yourself? Do you see yourself being a person that wants to be an elected official, or do you want to work alongside elected officials within structure? What's your take?
Honestly, man, it's been a interesting thing for me, man, like working actually for the government, because I never did before. You know what I'm saying? I was always like, for a long time I was like government adjacent, you know what I'm saying? Because I was a project manager, and then I became community engagement manager for this consulting company, you know what I'm saying? So we'd help people get their license and stuff. So we'd be at the Coleman Young building a lot. But definitely working for government, man, I think it's like important, you know what I'm saying? I was telling my sister, like, I think somebody has to do this work. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if I'm that person to fulfill that role in government, but definitely like whatever I do, if I do stand in government, I definitely want to be like in the community development space. But honestly, like I could see like, being a part of a firm or something like that. But I want to influence policy for sure. But I think the most important thing would definitely like high at the top of the list is just that inclusion. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm knocking on doors, you know what I mean? I'm inviting people out to the meeting. I'm going to other people meeting, just shouting them out, trying to collaborate, you know what I'm saying? So my whole job is, even now, like it's always been around bringing the residents in and bringing people in, making sure that they know too. And then last thing I'll say about it is like, you know, our
And share a little bit about your job because we talking around it.
Yeah.
You share a little bit about
our
it.
turnout is really low though. You know what I mean? In terms of like voting, especially like in the primaries and stuff. So I think like just, you know, more engagement on that front. But yeah, so being the project manager for the task force, man, I would say
Task Force on Detroit Reparations.
Detroit City Council Reparations Task Force. Mainly, you know, so we got a task force of some great people, you know what I'm saying? Some illustrious people that's, you know, got a history of doing great things in the city, you know, and we really want to get the word out, you know, about us. We want more people to engage. We want more people to, you know, come to us with our ideas. So, you know, we do public sessions every month. Our next one's going to be October 5th at Northwest Activity Center at 2 p.m. You know what I'm saying? And we have our subcommittee meetings, but I think the main thing right now is just making sure that, you know, people know what we got going on, and then we are bringing them in because, and we got a survey too. So we had over 500 people, you know, fill out our survey with the policy proposals. That was, you know, real great to get that feedback. But, you know, letting people know what we got going on and making sure they know it's like inclusive, you know, because we've been blessed too to have some great research partners. So we shared our Columbia report. You know, we had Columbia do a report. We're working with Wayne State too. You know what I'm saying? And University of Michigan, they did a harms report, you know. But I think we really been making some progress in terms of what our report needs to advocate for, and then the engagement that we've been doing behind it. So we just, you know, we want to continue to build on that.
All right. So with that being said, I definitely got to ask this too. Being one of the youngest people in the room at a lot of these community meetings and things like that, because I know you get that comment all the time. What does it feel like in that culture?
Man, I'm used to it, honestly, man. So like I've been, you know, since I was like, but people still think I'm like probably 24, 25. I'm 30, so I'm not that much older. But you know, I'm used to it, man. Like, you know, you meet these people and but honestly, it's love. You know, and sometimes they might try to size you up or whatever. Like, how old are you? Or how long you been doing? Or you know, everybody want to tell their story, which I appreciate. You know what I mean? But a lot of times too, like you'll find people just want to be heard. You know what I'm saying? So me, like, I'm the type, I want to sit down and listen to you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna ask you questions. I'm gonna, you know, figure out what you are advocating for, like where your heart is at. You know what I'm saying? And then I try to speak to that in terms of what we doing, you know, and how we can connect those things. But honestly, man, like I said, you know, for so long, I think it's just like approaching it with some humility. You know what I mean? Listening for sure. You know, because and being appreciative. You know, like the older people, they always want to tell you something. You know, and really they just want to pass the knowledge on. You know, so if you approach it from that mindset, like, well, they trying to impart some wisdom with me because obviously they believe in where I'm going, or, you know, then you could appreciate it, but then you also like use it as motivation. Like, I don't want to let these people down. You know what I'm saying?
So in that, man, you also are connected. You dropped their names a couple of times, or one of them. Two of my favorite OGs. So OGs in my mind are oracles of game.
But I like that.
They are people I look up to, and I've known them maybe since I was like, I've known them probably about 20 years. Some of the first people that sponsored anything I ever did. I did this Motown review years ago at Northwest Activity Center, and one of the first people to sponsor it was Tony Stovall, and we didn't even know what Tony Stovall outside of I bought my prom suit from him the year before.
Wow. Yeah.
And Tony Stovall and Cliff Green are the owners of Hot Sam's Clothing.
Shout out to them.
And you've mentioned them a couple of times, but
yeah,
I definitely always want to show up to say, like, as you talk about pouring game in, and me and Tone, we'll go back and forth for forever. And Lord knows I've been rough around the edges. Yeah, Tone is, I love Tone. So what is it like as you play baseball with Cliff's son? And I'm guessing that was the connection. And Mr. Green is definitely, when people think Hot Sam's, they thinking Tony more than likely because of the personality and everything like that. But it's also the balance. But Mr. Green is just as much game.
Mr. Green is like the underboss kind of, you know, managing everything behind the scenes though. But he ain't got to say much. You know what I'm saying? But so I you know, been knowing them, you know, for a while, man. Just like, you know, church too. And I used to work at Huntington Bank, which is like a couple blocks away from Hot Sam. So, that's where they used to come in and, do banking and stuff, And then I shopped there. Like, they looked out for me, man. I had an event with Orlando. And shout out to Orlando, too,
Mr.
man.
Bailey.
Shout out
Mr. Bailey.
to the east side, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I had an event there. He invited me to the East Side Extravaganza, at the Rosedale they do every year. So, I had to get fly for that, you know what I'm saying? So they always looked out for me, man. And then I was kind of like, looking for a job, like another part-time job to make some extra income. And they said they was looking for somebody. So, they ended up hiring me there, man. So I got to, work with them for a while, man, just part-time. But it was great, man. Like, working there because, you meet so many people and then you just see kind of how they operate. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Stovall, he's just a real entertaining guy. You know what I'm saying? But he also very smart.
To say the least. Exactly.
But we definitely, we talk about it because now he know I'm into politics and stuff. So now he be having some questions for me. You know what I mean? So we talk and then he be, he ask about how things is going and everything. He like, what they doing? You know what I mean? So he definitely, he be grilling me, rightfully so though. He gotta keep me honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
those my guys. Shout out to Terrence too. That's my guy too.
Yeah, love Terrence as well.
I think I was over there. And he had called you about something.
Yeah,
I was just laughing. I mean, he's like, man, what you think about something? I was like, yeah, he got his advisor over there.
Tone is even to this day. He was he's one of those people, and Mr. Green. But Tony will call me like, hey. He'll be like, hey, I usually can get my impressions. I'm gonna have to get my Tony impression together.
I think he kind of hard one to do, man.
Yeah, he a hard, but I will get it, and he gonna crack up. But shout
out to them, man.
Always been supportive, so I definitely want
to them having that to be able to own that store for as long as they did. You know what I'm saying? I think they bought it like the year I was born. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and staying in
navigating right and staying, through everything, and doing well still, and still a trusted name, obviously,
Yeah, I can't think of my experiences. I'm gonna be definitely like next year. This been the year of the bucket hat. 2025, you're gonna see me in way more suits. So I can't think suits and not think High Sam's me personally. But you know what I'm saying? To each his own. But that's where I'm going. 100%. So with that, man, that brings us to the end. Classic Detroit is different questions. All right. Very first car, year, make, and model, year you got it.
Oh man, I had a 2001 Dodge Stratus. I think I was telling people it was 2003.
Okay.
But man, I was a lifeguard, YMCA. So I paid for my first car.
Downtown YMCA.
Yep.
Okay.
So man, it was a 2001 Dodge Stratus. Man, I love that car. It was gold. So it'd be gleaming in the sun. It wasn't like, wasn't no big great car or anything. But back then you got a car. You up.
You rolling. Okay.
Yeah. All
right. And when did you get it?
This is 2011.
Okay. That's another thing which a lot of people in your generation, y'all wasn't trying to get licenses like we was. When we were 16, we was trying to get one.
I feel like it's these like maybe like 97. I'm born in 94. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I feel like I was still a part of that because I know I wanted to get.
You was trying to get your license. You was trying to get your LZ.
Man. I had I got when I was 16, but I didn't get the actual permit. I thought I got the permit, so I wasn't able to take my license on my 16th birthday, So I was almost 17 when I actually got my license. I was mad, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. So you were still in my generation of that, because
for sure.
Some of these kids be thinking, what I need a car for? I can Uber.
Straight
And maybe I would think like that if I was their age. I don't know.
But I want to be able to hop in my car, go around. I want to, impress some pretty girls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All that. So.
All right. You the DJ at the end of the fireworks. Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 2 songs. What songs you playing?
2 songs, man. I might play Good Ass Day. You know what I'm saying? And then the other song I play, man, I want to play something, kind of hype or whatever. Depending on what time of the season it is, I'll probably play Good Ass Day, and then I may play maybe I play I Don't Fuck With You or something like that.
Okay. All right. I would be playing All Black Truck right now. Shout out to Peasy and what he doing.
Hey, shout out to them. No, they going crazy. Shout out Babyface Ray and all them.
Yeah. So, Yeah, that's just in my rotation now. And last question: if you could rename Woodward after one Detroiter, who would it be and why?
Man, honestly, I think, and you know, her story is still being written. Shout out to her, but I think Sheffield. I think Sheffield Avenue, and I think that got a nice ring to it too. You know what I'm saying? Sheffield Avenue, and I think you know, shout out to Mary Sheffield. But also I think like just her family in general. You know what I'm saying? Like not even for just, you know, for her, but then she come from a long line of people that's, you know, been in Detroit and done a
Work
lot.
of her
you know
father, and especially the work of her grandfather.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Most definitely.
So to honor all of them, I think Sheffield Avenue got a nice ring to it too. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. That's the first
sir.
time that we got that one. So
Okay,
that'd be interesting.
Cool,
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir,
So
man.
there we go. Detroit is different. Definitely. Peace.
Appreciate you. Peace.
That is
Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.